Hello and welcome to Big Bang Radio Spotlights. This is a show where we talk to independent artists from all around the world all about their music and their process for making it. I'm your host Isaac Anderson, and today I get to sit down with the band Cashfire Sunset. Without any further ado, here's the interview. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. I want to start this interview kind of like I start every other interview with the artist. And the first question I want to ask each of you is, what is your earliest musical memory?
Ooh.
Wow.
Well, I'll go first because I can remember mine right away. My grandfather got me a book of poems, and I had memorized it when I was 2 years old before I could even learn how to read. And I also had a small Mickey Mouse guitar. So I used to go around with this little guitar and do the poems around my house before I even knew how to do anything else. It's just in me. It always has been.
Nice. Wow, I'm trying to decide whether it's going to be a concert or a musical instrument, but and I grew up in a very musical family as far as people appreciating music, but not playing it. I'm kind of the only musician. I wanted a guitar, and I was given a harmonica, and that would be probably 85. And first concert experience I remember is Def Leppard at Summerfest in probably 87, 86-ish. And I thought it was really cool because my dad's name is Steve. And there's a point in a song where Joe Elliott says, "Come on, Steve." And I thought he was talking to my dad. And my dad was like, "Oh, yeah, he's talking to me." So yeah, that's probably my first major music memory there.
Was there a moment in your life where you kind of just thought, "Oh wow, this music thing, I want to do that. I want to pursue that. I don't want to, go be an engineer or anything like that. I want to play music." Was there a moment?
I grew up singing in choir and listening to like Mariah Carey and stuff like that, and I always knew that I loved singing and I wanted to be a singer. And then like later on I realized that like I didn't just want to be a singer, I wanted to make the music too, because I didn't want to do like your regular pop music or whatever, and I had such like a wide variety of tastes. I kind of started off playing like punk music because it was easy and accessible, and like I could just do power chords and make up my own thing, and people didn't judge that too hard. So I started off doing that, and that's really when I was like, wow, I could really do this and continue doing it, and I did after that.
Yeah, I'm a similar way on Amber. Like I always loved singing, and I always kind of thought I'd want to try it out, maybe get out there and play some shows, but I never, I always thought I would be more in the visual arts as far as drawing or painting is concerned. And then I would say probably, early 20s. So for me, around the year 2000, I started playing music with Pat McDonald from Timbuk 3, and he was a really inspirational person for me to be around, and he kind of took me out and took me under his wing, showed me the ropes of just gigging around the Midwest, and at that point I loved doing it, and I don't like drawing the line between one profession or the other, but I knew I wanted to have live music as a part of it for the rest of my life at that point.
How exactly did this start? And I know you guys had a really rich musical background, and obviously that probably led to you guys having a really good, band connection. But how did everybody meet in the band?
Well, the band started out with Jason and Ray and Roger, and they were playing together for a while before Amber or I had joined the band. And then Jason was looking for more guitarists for the band, so he kind of put out a call on Facebook and other social media platforms and was like, anybody want to come try out? to which I showed up, and I don't know if it was an audition or just hanging out, but it was fun. And we all gelled really well. And at that point, we started just kicking around more song ideas, and Jason is an extremely prolific songwriter. So one day we'll have 4 songs, and then the next week he'll have another 10 that are brand new. So it was keeping us going forward that way. And then I don't know, probably a couple months in, we're almost done with the first record, which was Chemical Breeze, or self-titled. And directly after that, we started playing shows, and Amber's old band, the Meat Curtains, was one of the opening bands for us on our first show. And we played a bunch of shows throughout Milwaukee together, and it just kind of fit. Wasn't the right time for either band to split up or change units that way, but we continued both doing our things, and 2.5 albums later, Amber joined in and really solidified our sound into what we're doing now, and expanded it exponentially, and just bringing more harmony and more guitar and a new point of view as far as songwriting is concerned. But I'll let Amber take over on that point.
Yeah. I had broke up my old band, took a little break for a while, and then Jason saw some stuff that I was writing and asked me if I'd like to join. So I joined in, and I'm going to be helping with writing music and lyrics and singing and everything. And just combining all of our tastes together and having more perspectives, I think. And it's not just like one certain sound. It seems like we keep trying different things and trying to keep it fresh and like new, and push the limits and see what we can do with everything combined together. So that's a really good part of it.
But before we kind of get into the sound, I did want to ask you, the name Cashfire Sunset, is there a meaning behind that name? Or was it just something that you thought like sounded cool? Or is it like, is there something a little deeper behind that?
I think that it's important that people take their own meaning from it. I think that like we're just here to like provide the idea, and like everyone should make that up for themselves, I think.
Okay. I just thought I might ask. Just thought I might ask. It's always different.
Originally not our first choice on the name. We had kind of a weird list of just insanity.
That's something we like to do at work, is make up fake band names.
Well, heard that.
Yeah, and then that one just kind of, we kept saying it over and over, and it was like, yeah, Cashfire Sunset. Yeah, it sounds cool, and like everybody can get a different image out of it, and so as far as deep meaning, if you find one, let us know.
Yes.
Well, I think it's a cool name for sure. I just wanted to ask. So you mentioned a little bit of your sound, how you guys kind of made your imprint of the sound, and how great you thought it was even before you guys were a part of it. So your sound, if anybody hasn't heard your music or even has heard your music, knows that you guys have this kind of cool lo-fi, kind of like psychedelic rock, kind of almost like an indie blend. It's a really cool blend. Everything kind of blends together in a really nice way. The recordings have that kind of signature kind of gritty lo-fi-ness that I really like, and a lot of other people I know really love too. How exactly did you go about crafting that sound, or is that something that you consciously consciously do when you guys get together and try to play music, or is it just like this is just the kind of music that we write?
I think it's sort of like almost subconscious in a way. Like we all gravitate towards things like that, and I don't think that we're trying to like produce a certain thing. We're just kind of like doing what comes out. I think if anyone is more in control of that, it's Jason, because I don't know, he's just so good with like, he's a sound wizard.
Yeah, and he's the ultimate craftsman as far
knows how to blend things and like make them amazing all the time. So I guess we're just kind of like putting stuff out there, and maybe he's arranging it in the way that makes sense for the most part.
Well, you mentioned Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is obviously where you guys are based. How is the music scene in Milwaukee?
Amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, and all of us are surrounded by insanely talented people all the time. A lot of people have 3 or 4 bands because they can't choose a style. And I personally don't know how they pull it off with that much gigging out and playing with bands and being as good as they are. But I mean, it's a very welcoming scene, which it didn't used to be. At least I don't think so. It's a lot more inclusive now, where different neighborhoods are getting together and different kinds of musicians are getting together and collaborating and just really creating a unity that way.
Yeah, and we have everything from secret venues and basement shows to places like the Cactus Club, who have like national acts come through that we can play with when they come through. So everything is really accessible, like he was saying, and everyone's really like warm and willing to play. Like we love going to shows where it's like 5 different kinds of bands on one bill. Like that happens all the time. Well, not lately, but
yeah. No shows lately.
But what was the process of like your early shows and like maybe making the early music with the band and everything? Do you feel like that's a lot different than what you guys do now, or is it pretty much like we just basically we stick to that kind of same thing with that? Basically, we have that kind of thing that we have, and we didn't want to mess with it.
I would say we pretty much stick with our formula as far as the way we go about crafting songs. And a lot of times Jason will come up with demos and stuff, and we have a shared Dropbox. So that'll get put up, and then we all get a chance to kind of listen to the demo before we have practice, and just kind of get our heads at where we want to kind of be, and then we just jam it out for sometimes half hour, sometimes an hour, and then usually our process at that point is, oh, cool, we like that, let's record. And so sometimes the track you hear, and it only been flushed out for 45 minutes between the band, and then we put it down.
And that is something that I really love about this band, because I feel like when you start working on something, once you sort of like get it down, it loses some of its rawness. So I really like that we sort of lay down tracks and record things before we sort of master them. That way there's still kind of like a little danger in there, and it makes it, I don't know, more raw. I love that.
Well, awesome. Is that how you guys go about writing pretty much all your music? Do you guys pretty much, like, I know you said you had the shared Dropbox. Do you guys tend to bring, things that you come up with to the band, or do you guys just get together and like, let's just come up with something together? I don't know. Like, this always differs from bands, but I'm always really interested. It's like, do you think you write more individually or write more collaboratively?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think, well, Jason and I both write on our own, like lyrics and or music, and we'll put that in the Dropbox or bring it to the band. And then I think also during practice, like a lot of you, I'm less of a jammer than they are, so like they'll jam stuff out and like figure it out, and then I'll do stuff on my own and bring it. So it's like a big mixture of all of it, I really think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And there's a little bit of prep work involved with anything that we do, but there's also a lot of spontaneity that happens, and just ideas that come from a random new sound or a new pedal that somebody brought in with them, and it's like, oh wait, we got to try this out. And some things work and sometimes they don't. And we have a ton of stuff in our catalog that we haven't released, that we fully flushed out, but it was just either not the right moment for it, or we had what we wanted for the record to make the record right. But that's the cool thing about music is you can flush something out and think it's amazing, and it doesn't mean it's not if it doesn't make the record. It's just you keep sketching stuff out and save it for later, or put out a B-side record. I don't know.
Well, heard that. Let's keep on that train with the new record. I believe it's Age Before Beauty is what you're talking about, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. First off, I love the cover art, like with the face and everything. It looks really cool. The EP is a really awesome indie lo-fi kind of album. I love the production on it. I love the songwriting on it. Everything on there seems to go really, really well. It brought back kind of Sonic Youth vibes to me, and it also had a little bit of like modernality to it, where you guys had some. I heard a lot of different things in there. I don't want to pigeonhole you because I want you guys to describe it to people. But what was the recording process for that like?
We just jumped right in. I had just joined the band for what 2 months, 2 weeks. I don't even know.
I feel like it's closer to like 2 weeks.
Yeah. I had just joined the band, and I was just trying to like write right away so that I would feel like I was doing something, and it just came pouring out. And like I was saying before, how we just sort of record everything and keep it raw and keep it moving all the time. Like, I think that I don't even know what happened. I like blinked and it was made.
Yeah, and that's and as far as recording, usually we get together once a week, and on a good week of recording, like sometimes we'll crush out 3 tracks and a single day, and that's invaluable as far as being able to progress as a band and keep moving forward. I think because if once the idea is there, it's laid out, and it's just and you can keep moving forward really fast, and you don't have time to stop and think about it.
That is it. Not overthinking things.
Yeah.
And also having the Dropbox and being able to like sort of be ready for when we do get together, so that we can really maximize the time that we have together to actually get things done and record. That's a huge part of it as well.
For sure. And there's definitely in the older records, there was Jason had a set of rules for the band. They were in his head, so we didn't really ever get to know all of the rules. But as far as songwriting was concerned, like he had very specific things, and he was like, "Nope, it's got to be this way." And I'm trying to think of some of the rules right now, but they're escaping me. And saying when Jason, like, he's got a very clear vision of what he wants to do as far as writing is concerned. But
he's not afraid to let us like experiment within that. He's just really good at like editing everything back down to where it should be, which allows us to really like go nuts and do whatever, and then he can like clean it up and make it really great.
Yeah, sound wizard.
Yeah.
Well, heard that. That sounds like fun. I was just curious. I'm into the production side of things, but however you guys do it, it's really cool. I think you guys definitely have something going for you. And if people want to keep up with Cashfire Sunset, how can they do that on social media?
Well, we've got our Bandcamp, cashfiresunset.bandcamp.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, iTunes, and we're on all the streaming platforms as far as the new record. If you want to stream the first record, you would have to go to our Bandcamp. We've got some videos on YouTube. There's a full live performance on YouTube as well that we recorded with a local radio station, WMSE. And and that's the best way to find us, is just kind of be out and about, unless you're in Milwaukee and you just want to come hang out. We most of us work in the same pizza shop.
Well, heard that, man. Thank you so much to both of you. I really do appreciate it. Before we go, I do have a question that I want to ask that I ask all the artists that I talk to before they go. So us at Studio 67, we do a show called Big Bang Cinema. I host it. I'm a musician, but I'm also a film lover, and I love those two art forms. And I feel like people that play music have a soft spot for film, and I feel like those art forms are not too far away. So Amber, Sam, I do have a question right before we go. What is your favorite movie?
Oh boy.
Wow.
Oh.
This always seems to be the hardest one for people. The first one and the last one.
There's so many. I can 99% say for Jason, it's going to be Blade Runner.
Gosh.
Wow.
You have to pick first. Because I don't know what to pick.
I have a crazy love for weird cinema. Right, I'm gonna choose my favorite right now, which would be Rockula, starring Dean Cameron. But also it's got Susan Terrell in it, Thomas Dolby, Tony Basil, and Bo Diddley. And it's a weird, like, rock and roll vampire who doesn't want to kill anyone. He just wants to play music. It's insane. It's a weird piece of 90s camp. But I love it.
This makes so much sense. I'm going to pick The Labyrinth because Bowie.
Oh. Yeah.
Thanks to Cashfire Sunset for sitting down with me and talking all about their music. If you want to see more interviews just like this, you can go to facebook.com/Studio67NCC, youtube.com/NashComCollege, or you can find us on Instagram at Studio67NCC. Thank you all for watching. I'm Isaac Anderson, and until next time, stay lovely.